Today on I Watched This as an Adult Movie Reviews, we're going to have us a Super Mario Brothers extravaganza, as I will be reviewing Super Mario Brothers from 2023 and also Super Mario Brothers from 1993.
Not sure if you know who I am, but I'm about to rule the world.
Wow, yay!
But there's one problem. There's a human, has a mustache, just like you.
You think I know every human being with a mustache wearing an identical outfit with a hat with the letter of his first name on it? Because I don't.
Bowser is coming. Together, we are going to stop that monster.
How? Look at us. We're adorable.
Oh, I got this. No problem.
Yes! Come on, Mario! Our big adventure begins now!
Ah! Get it off! Get it off! Get it off!
There's a huge universe out there.
Whoa!
With a lot of galaxies. They're all counting on us. No pressure.
And welcome to another episode of I Watched This as an Adult Movie Reviews. I'm your host, Mikkel Ford, and we're going to be talking about all things Super Mario Brothers this episode. I actually was able to see the new Super Mario Brothers movie, and we will also be reviewing the older Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993, the first not really the first Super Mario Brothers movie. It's the first Super Mario Brothers movie in America, because there's actually a Super Mario Brothers movie in Japan that came out in 1986, but we're not going to talk about that. So technically, the 1993 Super Mario Brothers is the first Super Mario Brothers movie in America. We're celebrating the 30th anniversary of that movie also. That movie came out 30 years ago. Can you believe it? That the first Super Mario Brothers movie came out 30 years ago, and now 30 years later, we're getting a new movie. So like the newer movie is out. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy how things work out that way, because who would have thought that it would have took 30 years to finally get another Super Mario Brothers movie? It's like, who would have thought 30 years later we get a new one? But let's talk about the newer Super Mario Brothers movie. I'm not going to do spoilers. I know that the movie came out Wednesday. I know, because a lot of people would probably be like, well, the movie came out Wednesday. You could spoil it. But you know what? I'm going to be respectful. I know how I have done spoiler reviews in the past for certain movies. I know I've been caught in that wave of spoiler reviews, but I've decided not to do that anymore. And I want to say the last couple of movies that I've done, I have not done spoiler reviews. I don't think I did a spoiler review for Creed 3. I didn't do a spoiler review for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I don't believe so. I did the Batman, I believe, and didn't spoil that. I want to say I did one for Love and Thunder. I want to say I spoiled Thor: Love and Thunder. I want to say I did one for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I think I did one for that. But I'm not going to do spoiler reviews anymore because I feel like this movie is going to be on Peacock in like a month and a half later or something like that. You know, I just feel it. I just feel like this movie's going to be on Peacock soon. This is a Universal film, so it's going to be on Peacock because Megan's already on Peacock. That came out in January. Knock at the Cabin is already on Peacock, and I believe that came out in either February or last month. It either came out February or March. You know, so these movies are hitting streaming services rather quickly. I believe The Menu is on HBO Max. You know, like a lot of these movies are hitting streaming services very quickly. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, I think that's coming out on HBO Max like pretty soon. I think they announced that movie came out like what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is on Peacock also. Like a lot of movies hitting streaming services really soon. So you really have a good chance to see this movie. So why spoil it? You know, I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody because like if they could see this movie like in May, you know, there's no reason for me to spoil this movie. I know a lot of people like to do spoiler reviews, and spoiler reviews are a thing that's only happened recently. You know, I want to say it happened with the advent of the MCU. You know, because nobody was doing I don't think anybody was doing spoiler reviews before the MCU came along, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. For those that are not in the loop, that's what it's called. That's the initials that we call it. We call it the MCU. But since the Marvel Cinematic Universe came along, that's when spoiler reviews became a thing. That's when spoiler reviews became popular, and now everybody does them. Everybody does spoiler reviews. Everybody feels obligated to do a spoiler review. The spoiler reviews all over YouTube. People put spoilers on Twitter. They put them all over like social media. You know, like you're just spoiling the movie for people. And there's a lot of people out there that can't go out here and see the movie in time. You know, there's a lot of people that can't go out to see the movie the first week. And I know it's probably a tactic. Studios probably use this as a tactic now. It was like, hey, you better go see this movie the first week, or we're gonna spoil it for you. Like you don't want to get spoiled on the internet, you know. You're like, yeah, you can't stay off the internet, you know. And so, like, a lot of people spoil stuff, so it forces people to go and see the movie the first week. And there's a lot of people that probably can't afford to do that. Honestly, there's probably a lot of people that can't afford to go see the movie the first week. They probably got to work. They probably got more bills that are more important than a movie. You know, they probably got things. They probably can't find a babysitter for their kid if they got a kid. You know, like not everybody is single. You know, like not everybody's a single adult that has no responsibilities and nothing like that. You know. Like you got to understand, like some of these people got jobs, these people got families, you know, they got things they got to take care of, and they can't rush out to see a movie like that, you know. so you're spoiling it for them. You're punishing them for taking care of their business by spoiling a movie that they really want to see. Because they'd be like, oh, I can't see it this week. I'm gonna go see it next week. Or I can't see it the week after that. I'm gonna go see it 3 weeks from now, like when I have the money, you know. And you spoiling it, like the movie come out on a Friday, and you spoiling it on a Saturday, you know, man. I know I'm going on a rant. I'm going on a rant about spoiler reviews because I don't even really watch spoiler reviews anymore. I don't. Some of my favorite guys do spoiler reviews. The Dan Murrell, Jeremy Johns, my guys at Double Toasted, they do spoiler reviews. You know, like it's a lot of my favorite Christian Harloff. Christian Harloff's another guy I like to watch. A lot of my other favorite movie critics, they do a lot of spoiler reviews. E-Man, I'm talking about E-Man's movie reviews, like spoiler reviews. He just put out a Super Mario Brothers out of the theater, you know. So so I think he's a little late. But yeah, it's just like a lot of movie critics do spoiler reviews now, because spoiler reviews weren't a thing before I want to say before 2010. Before 2010, and like there was never a such thing as a spoiler review. Siskel and Ebert didn't do spoiler reviews. Like Gene Shalit didn't do spoiler reviews. What's that other guy? The other guy that with the gray hair and he had a mustache. He used to be on Good Morning America. I forgot his name. But he had the mustache and he had a beef with Kevin Smith. I remember. If anybody remembers this is like the late 2000s. I want to say this is about like 2007, 2008. I want to say this happened with like Kevin Smith and this guy, the movie critic for Good Morning America. They had beef with each other because I think he didn't like I think the critic didn't like Clerks 2. He didn't like Clerks 2, and him and Kevin Smith had beef with each other, and it was crazy. I think the guy passed away like not too long after that. I don't know if that was a coincidence or not, but but yeah, that guy didn't do spoiler reviews. Spoiler reviews weren't a thing, I think, until, like I said, we started getting to more of this like this nerd stuff. We started getting to this geek stuff. Like everybody wants to put Easter eggs out there. You got the new rock stars out there. You got like a whole bunch of other people out there. You got fandom out there. What's another one? There's another like spoiler YouTube channel that does that. Like everybody wants to do Easter eggs. Like everybody wants to find Easter eggs. You're like, ooh, that was in such and such, and they put it in the movie and blah 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 blah. Speaking of Easter eggs, I'm gonna get to this Super Mario Brothers movie review in a bit. I just gotta go on a quick rant. I'm sorry. But yeah, everybody wants to do Easter eggs. Everybody wants to find Easter eggs now. And it's like, just watch the movie. Just watch the fucking movie. That's all you gotta do. Cause I'm done finding Easter eggs. I used to be the Easter egg guy when I was younger. I'd be like, ooh, they got such and such in this. I was like, the last time I popped for something was in Eternals when they mentioned the Ebony Blade. And I think they showed the Ebony Blade at the end. I was like, oh, it's the Ebony Blade, But I know that was like what, 2020? That was like 2-3 years ago. But yeah, man, I'm just done with the spoilers, and I'm not gonna do that here today. I'm gonna talk about the movie. I'm gonna talk about what I thought about the movie. I'm gonna try my best not to spoil anything for someone who really wants to see this movie but can't make it out to see the movie in time. I'm gonna keep it real spoiler free. I'm not doing spoiler reviews no more. All right, so don't ask for spoiler reviews. Don't do it. If you want to, you could send me a message and tell me what you thought about the movie. You can send me a voicemail and tell me what you thought about the Super Mario Brothers movie, the newer Super Mario Brothers movie. I will link the voicemail where you can send voicemails in the episode. I'm gonna start doing that right now because I got that feature now. So like if you got an opinion, if you want to just send a voicemail in general and you got an opinion, send it to me. I'll put it in the next episode. If you want to be on the show, I'll put it in the next episode if you want it. Send a voicemail. I'm gonna, like I said, gonna link it in the episode. But anyway, yeah, let's get into this movie. I've spent like 12 minutes ranting about spoiler reviews. I spent 12 minutes ranting about spoiler reviews, and like this is gonna be a long ass episode. Just letting you know, this is gonna be a very long episode. But let's talk about Super Mario Brothers, the 2023 one. What I thought about the movie, I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun movie. Um, it was a little bit too fast for me. I wish it would slow down a bit, but I understand like this movie's like really made for children. Like this movie's really made for children. And it's short. It's short as hell. It's like 90 minutes. I think I went to go see this movie at 12:30. I was out of the theater by 2:30. Like on the dot. Like not even like 2:35. I was out at 2:30. Got there 12:30, got out 2:30. On the dot. Like they wasn't messing around. It was like, all right, we're gonna show a couple of previews at the beginning and then movie. And then movie's done. It's over. Like this movie's very fast. And that's probably why they just felt the need to like jam a whole bunch of things into this movie. And like I said, Easter eggs. We're in the Easter egg culture. Bunch of Easter eggs in this movie. It's just a lot of, oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. Oh, that was in Super Mario Brothers 3. Oh, that was in Super Mario World. Oh, that was in they made a reference to Super Mario Galaxy. Blah, 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 like it's like, oh, Mario Kart. It's just like they made all types of references to games. Like that's all it was. It was like, oh, I know what this is. I know what that is. Oh, they use that. It was just Easter egg palooza is what this movie was. I like my favorite part. I liked the beginning of the movie when they were in Brooklyn. They spent a good amount of time in Brooklyn. And that was when you actually got to learn about the characters. Because like once they get to Mushroom Kingdom, they do not slow down. They do not slow down at all. They do not let this movie breathe at all. I like once they get to Mushroom Kingdom, I'm like, whoa, wait, stop a minute, wait, let this movie breathe. Let's learn these characters. Let's do this. Like, but then they just start throwing shit at you once they get to the Mushroom Kingdom. But when they're in Brooklyn, you get to learn about these characters. You get to let these characters breathe. You get to learn the story arc of these characters. I like the beginning of this movie. But like I said, once they get to that Mushroom Kingdom, it's full speed ahead, man. It is full speed ahead. Like, there's references to, like, other video games in this movie. There's references to just Nintendo in general in this movie. Like I said, like, this is not gonna be a really long review because there's not much to this movie. Because like I said, once we get to the Mushroom Kingdom, full speed ahead. Like, it don't stop. Like, it don't stop. The plot kind of falls apart once they get to the Mushroom Kingdom. Like, I say plot falls apart. There really isn't a plot. Except Bowser. Bowser's got this thing. And he's, this is probably not a spoiler because this is always in the game. This is always in the video game. The one constant in all the video games is that Bowser wants Princess Peach. And this is not really a spoiler. So Bowser has the MacGuffin. I'm just gonna call it that. It's the MacGuffin. And his followers, like the Koopa Troopers and all those guys, the Goombas and all of them, they're like, oh yeah, we got this thing, man. Like they had like this big party and all, like, yeah, we got this thing, man. And Koopa makes this big announcement. And so like the Koopa Troopers are like, yeah, we all about looting and plundering and we gonna take over the world and all this stuff. And Bowser's just like, nah, you're not doing that. I'm gonna get us the Princess Peach. And they're like, huh? They're like, what? You gonna, like, so we did all of this for a broad? It was like, really? They were like, we did all of this for a woman. is what you saying. It was like the Koopa Troopers was not feeling that, but Bowser, man. Let's talk about Bowser, man. Bowser is ruthless though. Even though he wants Princess Peach, he is a ruthless bastard. I don't know what I'm saying about him. He's an effective villain. Like Bowser is scary. You know? He is a scary villain, and he will kill you. No questions asked. Like there's one of his followers that questioned him, and he's dead. Like he killed him. I'm not gonna tell you when that happened, but it happens. Like he murked that dude. You know, like I was like, yo, what? You know, like I say, Bowser is not to be played with in this movie. He is not to be played with. Jack Black does an incredible job as Bowser. He does incredible voice work as Bowser. He's got a great standout spot in this movie that when you see it, you're gonna laugh out loud. Cause like even though he's a scary villain, he's still kind of funny. You know, even though he's a scary, ruthless, kill you in a millisecond villain, he's still kind of funny. So like there's a part in this movie where like I was like, this is funny. Like this is the funniest scene in this whole movie. But yeah, like I enjoyed Jack Black as Bowser. Cause like this is the thing. Everybody's gonna talk about the voice work. Everybody did great voice work. Everybody did great voice work. Keegan-Michael Key is unrecognizable as Toad. You know, like he did a great job masking his voice. I couldn't even tell that was Keegan-Michael Key. Anna Taylor-Joy, she did good as Peach. Charlie Day was great as Luigi. I liked his Luigi. Who else? Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen is Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, but he's good. He's great. He's great as Donkey Kong. Another person that really masked their voice was Fred Armisen. Fred Armisen plays Cranky Kong, which is Donkey Kong's father. Did not know that was him until like I saw the credits. And I was like, wait, that's Fred Armisen? I was like, I didn't know that was him. But yeah, man, everybody does great work. Everybody does great work. Chris Pratt does too. Because this is the thing that everybody wants to know. Is Chris Pratt a good Mario? And he is. He's a great Mario. His voice did not bother me at all in this movie. Because like what he does is he just puts on a Brooklyn accent. He just puts on a New York accent. That's all he does. Charlie Day does that too. Charlie Day is just like, hey, I'm from New York. I'm walking here. You know, like that's what they do. Him and Chris Pratt, they just do New York accents, like modern New York accents. And like I said, doesn't bother me at all. He does all the little intangibles that Mario does. You know, the here we go and the woohoo and all that stuff. And yahoo! He does all of that. It was like he did a great job. I'm gonna say it. Like Chris Pratt's a good Mario. You know, I'm just gonna say it. He's a good Mario. He did not bother me at all. But yeah, man, there's nothing really much to say about this movie. They're definitely doing a sequel. They kind of telegraphed the ending. That's another thing. They kind of telegraphed the ending because like you got the MacGuffin. And as soon as I saw that, I was just like, oh, this is what they're going to use to beat Bowser. I was like, you know what? You know? It was like, that's it. It was like, oh, this is what they're going to use to beat Bowser. And I'm just like, okay, all right. And at the end, I was like, see? Yep, there it is. All right. But yeah, there's really not much. It's fun. Go see it. It's a great movie. I enjoyed it. It's a great movie to take your kids to go see. Go take your kids to go see it. Yeah, man, I enjoyed this movie. It gets a straight 5 from me. I'll be back with my review of 1993's Super Mario Brothers. Right after these messages.
Where are we? I got a feeling we're not in Brooklyn no more.
They're brothers. They're plumbers.
Hold on. Mario! Luigi!
They're on the trail of a kidnapped princess and a mystical meteorite.
It's incredible!
That gives anyone who possesses it the power to rule the universe.
Get me the rock! Don't get it, lizard breath!
Now, they must rescue the princess.
Alien species escaping.
And make it safely back
Later, alligator.
to our world
Are you alright?
before time runs out.
Get him! Yes!
Super Mario Brothers. This ain't no game.
And welcome back to the show. Super Mario Brothers from 1993. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the technical. This movie was directed by Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel. The screenplay was written by Parker Bennett, Terry Runt, and Ed Solomon. The movie had a budget of $48 million. It only made $38 million at the box office. The movie has a Rotten Tomato score of 28%. 28%. That's the Rotten Tomato score. For once, me and Rotten Tomatoes agree on something. But anyway, I'm giving that away. But like, let's talk. Let's go. We got to go in depth about this movie, man. We got to go dig deep into this movie, because I'm gonna be honest with you, like, the making of this movie is more entertaining than the movie itself, because this movie went through so much bullshit and red tape, it's ridiculous. Between casting, between like rewriting the script dozens of times to where it's not even a Super Mario Brothers movie anymore. And also the tension between the directors and the actors openly on set. Like, the making of this movie was a shit show. The studio went through many different directors before settling on the husband and wife duo of Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel. Then the studio had a hard time locking down an actor to play Mario. Dustin Hoffman was really interested in playing the character, but the studio did not believe he was right for the role. Then they offered it to Danny DeVito, but he turned it down. See all those people? I see all those people. They're like, Danny DeVito should play Mario. And I'm like, they tried to get him like 30 years ago. He didn't want to do it. So stop asking for Danny DeVito as Mario. He doesn't want to do it. You know. And he's like 70 now, so like he's too old to be playing Mario. Another person that was very interested in playing the role was Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was very interested in playing Mario, but he had a string of box office bombs at the time, so he wasn't really a sure thing yet. Ironically, it would be his role in the movie Philadelphia, which came out that same year that Super Mario Brothers came out, that will revive his career. Ironically. So, he really dodged the bullet. He dodged being in this movie, and he also went on to win an Academy Award. So, and put his career back on track. So yeah, he dodged the bullet. He made the right choice. But eventually, Bob Hoskins was cast as Mario, and comedian John Leguizamo was cast as his brother Luigi. But like I said, this movie had so many problems going into the making of it. Like I said, like the script was rewritten at least 10 times. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that this script was rewritten at least 10 times. There was one script that was very much in the vein of the Super Mario Brothers game. It resembled the game, but the directors didn't like it because it wasn't gritty enough. It wasn't gritty enough. It was like, what's all this fairy tale stuff? I think that's what they said. They was like, we're not making a fairy tale over here. We're making a gritty movie. But I'm like, Super Mario Brothers is a fairy tale. Like, it's a fairy tale. Like, they go off to a faraway land that's very bright and colorful, and they have to rescue a princess from a fire-breathing dragon. Sounds like a fairy tale to me. You know? Sounds like a goddamn fairy tale to me. The directors of this movie were the main problem. They were a big problem with this movie. Cause they didn't want to go with the source material, first of all. They didn't want to go with the source material. Like I said, they were like, we're not doing a fairy tale. You know, they didn't want to do that. The actors openly didn't like them. The actors openly didn't like them. Bob Hoskins would openly call them cunts on set. Like, he would openly call them cunts on set. Dennis Hopper, who played Bowser, he played the villain Bowser, he would just ad-lib his lines. He didn't give a shit. You know, like, he was just like, he read the script and he was like, I'm not saying any of this. And he would just say whatever he wanted to say. John Leguizamo said he would just show up drunk on set. Is what he said. Like, he said he would show up drunk on set. There was one incident where he did show up drunk on set, and there's a scene in there where him and Mario are driving he's driving the truck and Mario's in the passenger seat, and they said like he turned a little bit too narrow, and he kind of almost flipped the truck over, and he slammed Bob Hoskins' hand in the door. Like, the door slammed shut on Bob Hoskins, and Bob Hoskins had to do like the rest of the movie in a cast. Like, they painted the cast like his skin color, and he continued the movie. But yeah, man, like, Morrell was really shitty on set, and that kind of led to the movie we got right here. Now let's talk about how I saw this movie as a kid. Like any other kid, I was a Super Mario Brothers fan. I loved playing the video games. At the time, I was playing Super Mario World. I was addicted to that game. Like, you couldn't get me off that game. I loved Super Mario World. So when they said that a Super Mario Brothers movie was being made, like, I was excited. Like, sadly or happily, I never got to see this movie in theaters, but I did see it a year later on VHS. I believe my dad bought the VHS for me, and I saw it on VHS. And even at 9 years old, I think I was probably either 9. I was either 9 or I think I was 9. And like, but even at 9 years old, I knew this movie was trash. I was so mad. I was so furious that this movie didn't look anything like the games. Like, it didn't look nothing like the games. I was so mad. Like, it turned into a movie I would just watch when I'm bored. Like, I had nothing else to do. I watched everything. Because, like, every kid has, like, those, like, row. Back in the day when I was a kid, every kid had, like, that row of, like, VHS tapes they would just watch ad nauseum. And then, like, you'd be like, I'm tired of it. And then I'd be looking at it, I'm like, well, I guess I got Super Mario Brothers, and I'll just pop in Super Mario Brothers and just begrudgingly watch it, you know? But let's see how I feel about this movie as an adult. First of all, they have the nerve to play the Super Mario theme at the beginning of the movie. At the beginning of the movie, just to reel you in. Just to reel you in. They go do 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 do. They play the goddamn Mario theme, and you're like, oh yeah, we got to get Super Mario Brothers, but like, that's one of the only references to the game. There's a couple more, but like, they are few and far between, my man. They are few and far between. Then this movie gets weird. This movie is weird from the beginning because it starts off with this egg getting dropped off at a church, and a human baby hatches out of it. A human baby. A human baby hatches out of the egg, and you're just looking like, what the fuck? Like, what? You know? Why is a human baby hatching out of an egg? Well, moving on. Then we meet the Super Mario Brothers. And I don't have a problem with them per se. I don't have a problem with these Super Mario Brothers. Bob Hoskins is actually a really good Mario. He's a really good Mario. He has the look and he has the accent. Like, he puts his all into this character. And like, it's a shame that he did it for this movie, because like, dude, Bob Hoskins is acting his ass off in this movie, and like, he's got Mario down pat. Like I said, like, if this was a better movie, he'd be a great Mario. He is a great Mario. I'm not shitting on his Mario, because he's putting his all into his character. Like I said, he looks like Mario. He's got the mannerisms of Mario. He's got the accent without going too Italian stereotype. You know, he's like, come on, paisano. He was like, we got some work to do. You know, like, he's got it down. He just like, I was like, he puts his all into this goddamn character. I was like, it sucks that it had to be in this stupid movie. But, you know how I feel now. So, but anyway, John Leguizamo isn't bad as Luigi either. You know, like, he doesn't really look like Luigi. He's tall and he's skinny, but he doesn't have the mustache, you know. And he's not like, because Luigi is a little bit more nebbish than Mario. He's a little bit more like, I don't know about this Mario, you know. Like, he's a little bit like that, like how Charlie Day played him in the new movie. He played him a little bit more nebbish, you know, like, oh, Mario, I don't know, you know, like, that's Luigi. But like, he'll jump in when his brother needs him. You know, like, whenever his brother needs him, he's right there. And that's like the chemistry. They got that chemistry here. Like, I like the chemistry between Hoskins and Leguizamo. Like, they make the characters feel like real brothers. Like, cause like Mario and Luigi are very close brothers. They will like die for each other. You know, like, literally, they will die for each other. I love the relationship between Mario and Luigi. You know, like, cause like they them type of brothers, you know, and like Hoskins and Leguizamo played that way too. Like, they make them feel like real brothers. They will die for each other, you know, like, they always looking out for each other. And like, that's a positive. That's one of the only positives of this movie. It still irks me that they went with Princess Daisy as the love interest instead of Princess Peach. Like, that's always been a problem. I was like, why are they going with Daisy? And because the only mention of Daisy that I remember at that time was in Super Mario Land. If you've ever played Super Mario Land on Game Boy, like, she's the Game Boy princess to me. You know, she ain't Super Nintendo Entertainment System princess to me. That's Princess Peach. You know, like it's supposed to be rescuing Princess Peach, not Princess Daisy. She's not even Mario's love interest in this movie. Like, instead, like, they go with her and Luigi having a relationship, which I think they kind of retcon into the games now. That's something that they took from the movie, and they put it in the games, that Luigi and Daisy got something going on. Because Mario already has a girlfriend in this movie. You know, he ain't even worried about Daisy. He's like, I got my own girl. they kind of allude to Mario and Luigi being orphans in this movie. Like, I don't know why they made that decision, but they make a lot of bad decisions in this movie. So what do I expect? Daisy ends up getting kidnapped by two of Bowser's goons, and Mario and Luigi have to go and save her. And that's where they get transported into Dino Hatton, which I always thought was a stupid name. You know, I always thought it was a stupid name for that. They're like Dino Hatton, you know. But I understand why they didn't go with the Mushroom Kingdom, because Super Mario World was hot at the time. Like, that was out. And in that game, Mario and Luigi go to Dinosaur Land. So, like, I understand the thought process of why they did this, but the execution was lackluster. It was just piss poor. Okay. And that was the problem with trying to adapt these types of properties back in the 90s. Like, they would focus on trying to make the source material not look silly by making it look more real, but in the process, that just makes it look even more silly, you know. And Super Mario Brothers suffers from that big time. They suffer from that problem big time. Now let's talk about Bowser. Dennis Hopper plays Bowser as a very Donald Trump-ish type character. He plays him very Trump-like. You know, like, I don't know if he watched a lot of, like, Trump footage, because even back in the 90s, Donald Trump was just Donald Trump. You know, he's always been, you kind of go back in hindsight, he's always been kind of a slimy, disingenuous human being. You know, he's always been that. I don't know if he was just watching a lot of Trump footage, like I said, but he reminds me of Donald Trump. Even his hair is very Trump-like. You know, like, even like the hair, because like it looked like he got cornrows a little bit, but like they're trying to be like scales. But it kind of, like I said, it kind of looks like Donald Trump's hair. Like, it's blonde and it's kind of like swoopy. But it kind of looked like cornrows a little bit too. It's just, he's got weird hair in this movie. I know they're trying to make him look like a dinosaur, but it's just weird looking. We get a couple more references to the game with Big Bertha, who in the game is a big fish. But here she's a big black woman who I think is played by the Pine Saw Lady. I think that's the Pine Saw Lady. I'm not sure. I think it's the Pine Saw Lady. I don't know if that's her, but I think that's her. Then we get Toad, who in this movie, he's a street performer. Like, he's not here very long. Like, they do Toad dirty in this movie. They do Toad so dirty in this movie. I know Toad's not my favorite Mario character. You know, he's not. He's never been my favorite Mario character. But like, they ain't had to do him this dirty. Like, what they do to him in this movie, I was like, God damn. You know, why y'all do that? But they do explain the Goombas in the process. You know, like, the Goombas are like the main henchmen of Bowser. They look totally different from what they look like in the game, but everything looks totally different from what it looks like in the game in this movie. So I'm not even going, like I said, that's just redundant. You know, that's a redundant thing. It's something I'm not going to keep saying in this review. It's like, that doesn't look like the game. How come that doesn't look like the game? You know, like, we know it doesn't look like the game. But there's also a car chase scene in this movie. And in a warped way, I guess you could say it's a Mario Kart reference, because I believe Mario Kart was out at the time. The first Mario Kart game was out at the time. So, like, you could be like, hey, that's a Mario Kart reference, because the cars are bumping into each other and stuff like that. But I'd also say you'd be reaching with that one. You know, that's a big reach. Even I'm reaching with that. I was like, maybe that was a little nod to Mario Kart. They get in the car chase and they bumping cars, and you know, they do that. Yoshi is here also. He doesn't really do anything, but he's here. You know, they was like, hey, yeah, Yoshi. You see Yoshi? Now shut up. You know, that looked like that was basically what they were doing. They were like, hey, Yoshi's here. No Yoshi? Yeah, that's Yoshi. Now shut up. You know, like, you got your Yoshi, alright? Be quiet. You know. We also get this weird dance scene between Mario and Big Bertha. Big Bertha shows up again because like she's got like this they call it the rock, but it's like this like crystal that Princess Daisy had. That's the reason that they kidnapped Princess Daisy, by the way. But Big Bertha gets it, and so like Mario has to kind of seduce Big Bertha in a way to try to get the crystal. And like so they do this like weird dance scene. It's kind of erotic in a weird way. You know, like, it's kind of erotic. I ain't gonna lie, Big Bertha kind of hot. You know, like I ain't gonna lie, she kind of hot. I'm not really ashamed to admit that. You know, like she's wearing this like tight red dress. You know, like she's a big woman. She's a big woman, but like she pull it off. She pull it off. They got her boobs sitting up, you know, and they real jiggly, you know. But I digress, you know. So, but anyway, we also get to this scene where like because like Bowser turns Daisy's dad into like this disgusting slime fungus, and it's like really gross looking, like. It's so gross. I don't even want to think about it. Just thinking about it makes me want to throw up. I don't even want to go into it. But another thing I like about this movie, there's not a lot of things I like about this movie, but another thing I like about this movie is that I like that Mario uses plumbing to solve all his problems, because like we don't have the power-ups in this movie. Like he can't hit like a block and get the mushroom or get the feather, get the leaf, you know, and he ain't got the Tanuki suit, he ain't got the special super cape, he ain't got the fire flower, none of that. So like he has to use plumbing as a fighting tactic, you know. So like that's what him and Luigi use. They use their plumbing tools as fighting tactics. Like they use plumbing, they use their tools to beat up the bad guys. This is what they do in this movie. And then finally, an hour in, we finally get Mario and Luigi in those famous jumpsuits, in the red and green jumpsuits. They finally put them on, which is something movies like this would do all the time. They would do this all the time. It was like they was like afraid to put the superhero or whatever in the costume. Because they would just look at the costume and be like, man, that looks silly. I'm not doing that. And it was kind of like they had to do it. It was like they didn't want to do it. But the studio was like, hey, man, you got to put him in the costume, man. You know, like, you got to do it. It's like, it's the reason that they come to see the movie. You know, you got to give it to him, man. You got to give it to him somehow. But, yeah, man, this movie is really bad. It's terrible. I don't like it. It's like they made a Total Recall movie and put the Mario Brothers in it, which is something that I didn't ask for. You know, it's something that I didn't want. And then they had the nerve to tease a sequel. They had the nerve to tease a goddamn sequel. And it's just, I'm like, that sequel didn't happen, obviously, so I was like, stop it. I hate when bad movies tease sequels. You know, you're like, oh, here we go again. I was like, no, we don't. You know, we ain't never going again. Y'all ain't getting no sequel. Cause like I hated when this did it. Masters of the Universe did it. The Skeletor, like, I'll be back. I'm like, no, you won't. They teased Sinestro in that 2000 when that movie came out, 2010. That 2010 Green Lantern movie. Like they teased. I hate when bad movies always think they about to get a sequel, don't they? They the main ones that think they gonna get a sequel. They be like, oh yeah, we get the sequel. Bad movies are like a F student that think they about to graduate. You know, that's what bad movies are. Bad movies are like an F student that think they about to graduate. They're like, oh yeah, I'm getting my cap and gown ready. We about to graduate, but like you got all Fs, all right? You got straight Fs. You ain't graduating. So you're like you ain't doing it. Okay, that's what bad movies are. But like I said, there's parts of this movie that if this was any other movie, I would enjoy it, but it just doesn't work here. And I know a lot of people have come around on this movie, and now it's a cult classic. A lot of people like, oh, this movie ain't that bad, you know. I think it's just nostalgia. I think it's because we're getting better stuff in the geek culture. You know, video game movies are getting better. Superhero movies are better. You know, other nerd fandom stuff is better. They made what I heard, a really good Dungeons and Dragons movie. I didn't see it yet. So a lot of like fandom stuff is getting good. So like all the other stuff that was bad back in the day, we can look back fondly on it. But I can't fuck with this movie. I really can't. I don't like this movie at all. It sucks. Like I said, Bob Hoskins is a really good movie. He's a really good Mario in a bad movie. Like, I can't in good faith recommend this movie. The only thing I could recommend is Bob Hoskins' performance. Like, it's really good. John Leguizamo's performance is really good. And for that reason, and that reason alone, I give it a 2 out of 5. Join me next week when I will be reviewing Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Until next time, peace.